You are looking at the ACR. This one in particular is probably the Bushmaster ACR because it is the single fire only civilian version. Now, it started its development as the Magpul Masada, and then the design got licensed to Bushmaster to make it for the civilian market and licensed to Remington to make it for the military market, though I'm unaware where it's really being used in the military. There's some indications that Poland may be using some, but in the United States military, I don't think there are any in widespread use. So let's just go back and start over from scratch. So the Magpul Masada is where it started, Magpul being the company that designs and manufactures the PMags, the MBUS sights, a lot of fore-end grips for shotguns and rifles like this one here, and other accessories like stocks and, I don't know, the bad lever, that attachment that you can have for an AR-15 to allow you to drop the bolt from the right-hand side. A lot of different cool stuff. This is really just like a Magpul rifle if you look at it and you're familiar with their products. So I guess because they are just trying to stay an accessories company, or were back in 2009, they decided to license this to Bushmaster to manufacture it, and it was going through trials to try and replace the handy dandy M4, which I have here. But as a result, I guess they just stuck with the old mentality, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So this didn't get replaced by anything. Let's go ahead and fire this guy since we have it. Now this one is the military version, so we can put it in full auto. Man, if only I had that recoil control in real life. So they stuck with this thing for now, though I do believe that this may be the perfect rifle. Now, I've had a lot of experience with it in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I've handled one in real life, haven't shot one in real life, and there are a lot of reports of people saying the civilian version has had some faults and reliability issues. They actually had a mass recall in 2015 because apparently they were firing multiple rounds at once. So, in other words, they were a little too fun. But in all actuality, that's pretty dangerous. So, and let's go ahead and talk about why this thing, in my mind, is the perfect rifle. So the AR-15 is pretty fantastic. All the controls are great. Some of the things that aren't so great are, well, this one in particular doesn't have a free-floating barrel, so that's kind of a problem. This is solved here. The handguard really attaches to this upper receiver portion and not to the barrel, so if you rest this on anything, the barrel won't bend at all, whereas if you rest that handguard on something, the barrel could bend up a little bit and that could throw you off. It's very, very minor, but it does have a big impact at range. So that's the first thing. You could say that the gas impingement system here, which is just a tube going from the barrel around here in this gas block all the way back, you could say that that's kind of dirty and can get clogged up. It's really hasn't been an issue as far as I know. This one has a short stroke gas piston, which people believe could be an improvement, but not a lot of feedback on that, so unclear whether or not that's a benefit. This one does have an adjustable gas system, so if you run something like a suppressor, you can shut off some of that gas because you're going to get excess back pressure, and overgassing can have somewhat deleterious effects on your rifle. So let's go ahead and fire this guy off now that we have a very cool suppressor. I'm trying to give you guys different angles. Let's go on the right side. So, adjustable gas system. Now that we've got the mag in, we can talk about how you release it. So you can do that right here, which is the same spot that it is on the AR, right there, where your index finger would be, right there. But there's also one on the other side, which is not on the AR. So ambidextrous controls. You also have that for the fire selector and for the bolt catch right down there. So the design of that is actually pretty sweet. You can see that it has the jimping kind of on both sides, and that's because you can press it down. I need a pointer, that's why I'm using the guns. You can press it down that direction to drop the bolt, and you can actually hold it up while cocking it to hold the bolt back. Now that will happen anyways when you have the mag in on both of these, but if you want to hold the bolt back on an AR-15 without a magazine in there that's empty, you have to do a three-handed maneuver. So you have to hold the rifle, you have to pull the charging handle back, and you have to push down the bottom of the bolt catch all at the same time. You can kind of do it with two hands, but it's a little bit awkward, and much more awkward than just being able to use your index finger on this guy to hold that bolt back. So another great improvement there. Because it does not have to have this buffer tube where the bolt would slide back and there's a recoil spring in there and a buffer, You can actually fold this stock to the side on some models. This is the basic version, which doesn't have many features, but you can have some that do have a folding stock. You take off the stock completely and just use it kind of like a pistol. You can replace this with different forends that have like a 3-sided Picatinny rail, M-lock or Kia mod, any course of attachments that your heart might desire. And then, well, you can also see that you have this one-piece rail at the top. Now in some ARs, you do have that, so I'm not going to say that that's a huge improvement with modern ARs. But the last thing that I can think of right now, I might come up with one later, is that you have a quick change barrel caliber system. So on this guy, you're pretty much stuck. If you want to switch out the calibers, all you can really do is kind of get like a 22 long rifle conversion kit. Otherwise, you're going to have to kind of swap out the upper or do a lot of gunsmithing to get that barrel out. On this guy, you can fire a bunch of different calibers with very little modification. So one of them is 300 blackout. Grab this here. Right there. How convenient. So subsonic armor piercing. There's one there. And one of the benefits of this guy is, oh, it's very dark. So I guess I could have picked a different one. Is you can see just how different it is than the 5.56 round. It has a much bigger bullet, and that is because in order to be subsonic, it has to go slower than the speed of sound, obviously. And if you do that on a 5.56 round, you just remove charge and you're firing this small little light bullet at slow speed, so it doesn't have a lot of energy. If you increase the size of the bullet and the weight of the bullet, then you're going to be able to impart more energy on your target even at a lower speed. So this guy at around 200 grains versus 55 grain, it's like 4 times the weight, but it's subsonic. It all works out. So if you want to fire this, okay, so this would fit in there. This is an AR-15 Stanag mag. The 300 blackout is designed so that it's pretty close to this round. You can see it's different, but you can see that the bottom has about the same dimensions so that you don't have to change out too much. You don't have to change out the bolt, but you also don't have to change out the magazine. So you would be able to load up your old AR-15 magazines. You can use it in an AR-15 if you change out the barrel, use the same bolt head, the bolt carrier group, everything. So you'd be able to swap this guy in pretty quickly. All that you'd have to change on this guy, pull off the front forend. You have a toolless barrel removal. You could swap a lever to the side, loosen it, pull it out, throw a new barrel in. If you're changing over to some calibers, like this is also available in 7.62 by 39 millimeter. It's also available in 6.5 Grendel, 6.8 SPC Remington, and 450. It's weird. There's a weird amount because barrel caliber changing was all the rage back when this thing was being designed. So that is an option on this guy. It didn't end up being a big deal because 5.56 NATO is ubiquitous at this point. So caliber changeovers didn't really become a big hit. But if you have one of these guys and you find a giant stockpile of 6.5 Grendel, or you decide that you need to go super quiet and you don't want to bother with the 5.56, which is really only useful, it's supersonic, you can pretty easily swap out the barrel for 300 blackout and you just kind of have multiple guns in one. Also, if you find an enemy stockpile of like 7.62 by 39, you have the extra barrel, go ahead and throw it on. I don't know how many barrels you're carrying around in your Humvees or back at your FOB, but it's an option. It's a feature. Some people have complained about reliability issues with that, but given that this thing didn't really get a fair shake, it didn't have a lot of time to find what the flaws were. Like if you think about something like the M1 Abrams tank, we're at the like M1A3 right now. It's been 30, 40 years that thing's been rolling around, and the ones that we have now are basically the same, but with huge upgrades because they find so many things that they could improve. So it's easier to they thought it was easier to take a platform like this, make incremental improvements instead of trying to start over from scratch where you'd have to grab, again, incremental improvements on a new platform. So we'll talk about that more the next time we do something like a P320, which has replaced the Beretta M9 as the Army service pistol. So let's throw on some optics on this guy. And I think I can't fold these down in game, so I'm going to just remove them. I think if there was any gun that could accept an EOTech and just look perfect. It's the ACR. So I'm going to also throw on, well, let's just run it like this for now. Throw on this guy. And the last upgrade over something like this is, well, not over this in particular, but this guy has a non-reciprocating charging handle which can be swapped to either side. On this one, you now have these levers which you can, unlock from either side, so it's not much of an issue. But this one has some features combining two of this one, so the forward assist on this guy that you would use to smash a bullet into battery in case it's not getting there on its own. You can use this, so let's say this is non-reciprocating, so that means that when you're firing this guy off, the charging handle doesn't come back. Now that's also the case, gun safety. That's also the case on the M4. So this is the charging handle right there. However, if you need to force something into battery, you'd have to just smack that guy. So two separate pieces, which I guess are two separate pieces to fail and extra weight. Whereas on this guy, if you have a failure to fully get that bullet into battery, you could just kind of like use this to mash that in. So it is slightly useful. I don't really know how it works, but supposedly it does. So I guess we'll fire this one. Did we use this with the sights? Let's get one up close. Okay. Grab a full mag. So these are the 20 rounders. That thing's still moving? Or am I just going crazy? Alright, how'd that do? Oh, okay, so pretty good aside from that first one up there. So now let's throw on this 2x magnifier. How's that look? It's looking a little goofy, but still okay. So let's put a couple shots on up close. Oh, this isn't a flip-to-side, so I guess that's my problem. It has the flip-to-side mount. So let's go ahead and grab an actual flip-to-side magnifier. The 3x. Which should look a little bit more normal. Not quite. Whoa! Okay, I guess it's misaligned a bit with this EOTech, so we'll just manage. So let's get this guy up close, then we'll move him back and get him as he is, well, I guess kind of retreating. So don't want to sound evil that we're taking out a retreating enemy, but I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. Okay. He's getting away. More precision. All right, and that's it. How'd we do? A couple up high. Let's say that is good, I guess. All 30 on the paper, so that's something we can celebrate. Pull this guy off. Just keep it looking normal battle mode. So there you have it. The ACR. I forgot what to call this one. The Magpul ACR, Magpul Masada, Bushmaster ACR, Remington ACR, and then whatever any military is calling it, M297. I just made that up, but it would probably have some kind of weird M designation. So thank you guys for watching this one. Let me know what you guys think of the ACR. Do you like it? Do you think it's superfluous? Have you shot one? Do you own one? Do you like it in video games? Do you like it in COD? Do you like it in Battlefield? I'd love to know anything you have to say and engage you guys in the comments. So again, thank you guys for watching. Comment down below, subscribe if you like the channel, but I'll see you in the next video.